was this tour to get over there, so about 20 minutes or so. It's the longest period between stops that we've got. Hey, you got some folks coming over? And thank you to Kermit the Frog for that next round of safety announcements as we head on out of here. Now, first and foremost, let me just very quickly go right from the safety announcements to introducing myself, because my name is very much heavily involved in the safety announcements. Lurch. That is all you do in Boston traffic. There's a reason why people call all of us massholes. Boston was ranked worst city in the United States to drive in for the 10th year in a row this past February. So much so that in honor of it, the Oxford English Dictionary added the term masshole to its repertoire. Now, directly in front of the trolley, you guys can now find the two John Hancock Towers. The checkerboard building that we're coming up on is the old John Hancock Tower. It's got a big weather beacon right at the very top of it to let you know what the weather is going to be at any given time. You'll see that it's currently flashing 6 blue lights, which means it is going to be cloudy. The poem associated with those lights is steady blue, clear view, flashing blue, clouds are due, steady red, rain ahead, and flashing red, snow instead. If you ever see it flashing red in the middle of summer, it simply means that the Red Sox game has been canceled due to the weather for that day. And just because I just checked the weather a second ago, it is 61 degrees out right now, and getting actively colder. It's going to be 55 within the next few hours. This is why I started closing some of my windows. Now, right up in front of us, you can also see the new John Hancock Tower, new being the term for the building made in 1970, so it's a lot older than you think it is. Now, the John Hancock Tower at 62 stories is the tallest skyscraper in all of New England, which isn't saying much considering it's only 62 stories. That's a third of the Empire State Building. However, you can't actually make anything taller than that throughout New England because we just get way too much wind to safely be able to do so. When the Hancock Tower was first built, it showed so much that 50 panes of glass were ripped right out of their sockets. It created a 25,000 pound cleanup that we had to deal with. We had to put wooden boards over all the remaining windows inside the building, getting the Hancock Tower the nickname the Plywood Palace as a result. They had to hire MIT students to build giant counterbalance machines, hoping to prevent any further shaking, but it really only served to mitigate it. And when the John Hancock Insurance Group went to go sue their glass company for the improperly sized windows, they found out to their horror that they were their glass company's insurance provider. I don't know how easy it is to sue yourself, but I can't imagine it's a fun experience. Over on our left-hand side is the only building still standing from the original campus of MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. This red brick building used to be the MIT Museum of Natural History up until MIT moved to Cambridge, where it is today. It moved to Cambridge in the 1890s. That building stuck around until the 1950s, but we're also moving to Cambridge to become the Museum of Science. The beautiful Gothic Presbyterian church on our left-hand side is the Church of the Covenant, which some of you guys might recognize from the infamous Mafia movie, Boondock Saints. Right in front of us is where you're going to find Commonwealth Avenue, also known as Tom Ave, the Emerald Necklace, or the Berry Street, designed by Frederick Law Olmsted. Some of you might know better as the guy who built Central Park in New York City, as well as the lawn outside of the White House. He designed this street specifically to look like a promenade that you would find in the middle of Paris, France. So much so that all the trees on either side of us, with the exception of the gifted Japanese cherry blossom trees we were given, were all stolen from Paris, France, which French officials didn't find out until 70 years later, when Winston Churchill happened to be telling a joke about it at a benefit gala that the French diplomat in the UK happened to be attending. As you can probably imagine, he did not find the joke very funny. Coming up on our left-hand side is going to be the 6th iteration of Boston's first church. Yes, you heard that correctly. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. So, this first church of Boston on our left-hand side, it was originally a wooden building founded by John Winthrop in 1630. John Winthrop being the first governor of the Massachusetts colony. Since then, the building burned down and then got rebuilt, and then burned down and then got rebuilt, and so on and so forth until it burned down, and they rebuilt it entirely out of the readily available stone that they had access to the entire time. Because Boston used to be underneath a giant glacier during the Ice Age. Rocks have been deposited throughout our soil all throughout the state of Massachusetts. This was all available to them right from the get-go. Now you might also be wondering, well, why did it burn down so many times? Well, it used to be located on an island jutting off the regular city of Boston. So this all used to be underwater around here. And by water, I mean fens, and the Back Bay swamp that used to be here, filled to the brim with highly flammable, highly explosive methane. So, we needed to do something about it, to prevent the building from burning down again and filling in all this neighborhood. Everything off on our right-hand side, from the Cheers bar all the way down as far as the eye can see, we filled in with landfill and other miscellaneous gravel. It took us a very long time, becoming the most expensive and extensive land redevelopment project in American history. The Back Bay Landfill project saw us bringing in 35 train cars worth of gravel every hour, on the hour, 24 hours a day, 364 days a year, with only time off for Christmas Day, starting in 1847 and ending in 1902. 55 straight years of almost non-stop work. Boston was expanded from 1.5 square miles to 48.5 square miles as a result, and we weren't the only city doing this. Tour guides across the North Shore of Massachusetts will tell you the same, like up in the Salem Trolley, for instance. Now, this entire neighborhood is entirely made on landfill, and it's also a lot easier to navigate than old colonial Boston, because all the streets are in alphabetical order in a grid-shaped pattern. Arlington, Berkeley, Clarendon, Dartmouth, Exeter, Fairfield, Gloucester, Hereford, Ipswich, Jersey, and Kenmore. All named after British towns that supported the American Revolution, and all names that are impossible to pronounce with a Boston accent due to our inability to say the letter R. So it'd be Arlington, Berkeley, Clarendon, Dartmouth, Exeter, Fairfield, Gloucester, Hereford, Ipswich, Jersey, and Kenmore. On our right-hand side, you guys can now see the first ever mansion ever owned by Tom Brady, with that beautiful archway over the door. Brady purchased that home in 2002 for $8 million, sold it in 2004 for $11 million, before moving into a gated community in Brookline, Massachusetts, due to the fact that the paparazzi had figured out where he lived, and they would literally set up tents in front of his front porch. So that every time he tried to leave his house, they could bombard him with stupid questions. Which, I don't know about you guys, but I think I would rather have a cockroach infestation again. As we make our way through the Back Bay neighborhood, you'll see the Charles River Esplanade, the Charles River, and MIT all throughout our right-hand side. The Charles River is actually the first recorded site of a UFO in America. It was actually by one of the Puritans way back in the 1630s. Over on our right-hand side, there's going to be an orange building coming up into view. We're currently looking at the Hooper Mansion. The Hooper family back in the late 1800s were dog trainers and dog breeders, and it was through their very creative and selective breeding methods that inside this very building is where the first litter of Boston Terriers was born and raised. You can see that there's a plaque dedicated to the Boston Terrier right next to the front door. Boston Terriers were originally bred to be able to help Bostonians deal with their horrible rodent problem back in the day. Because back in the 1800s, the most successful dog breed when it comes to rodent hunting had not yet been imported to the United States. Does anybody know what the most successful rodent hunter in the world is? It would be the Corgi. Don't let little fat bodies and the lack of knees fool you. They are very successful rodent hunters. In fact, my friend Ariel out in the Midwest actually has the champion rodent hunting corgi in all of the United States. His name is Toshi, and he is named after the famous superhero All Might. Speaking of creating your own dog breed, coming up on the right-hand side is the actual campus of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, which moves to where it is today in 1891. Just last March in 2025, MIT went viral all over the world, making international headlines because they had just brought a dog breed back from extinction. By rewriting the genetic code of the modern gray wolf. The wolf mother wound up giving birth to the first dire wolves in almost 12,000 years, being brought back from extinction as a result. And of course, who did they invite for the unveiling of the dire wolves? George R.R. Martin, the creator of Game of Thrones. Because of course, he needed every excuse imaginable to not be home finishing the Winds of Winter. Do any of you actually think he's ever going to finish that? And not a single hand goes up. That's exactly what I was expecting. I have been telling that joke since last March. I have gotten a singular hand since then. Now, MIT, of course, it is a very well-known science mathematics college. They are definitely not a sports college. In fact, they actually have one of the lowest-rated football teams in all of American college football. The MIT Beavers fail so often, that is what all their cheerleaders prepare for. Every single one of their cheers is, that's all right, that's okay, go all work for us one day. Because they know, the other team's gonna kick our butts, we might as well just put them in their place another way. Which is why, as well, most students at MIT do not call it the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Instead, they say the acronym stands for Millionaires in Training. I wish I was kidding. Now, if you go back over Commonwealth Avenue once again, the opposite direction this time, Newberry Street's coming up on our left-hand side, right up in front of us here, where we saw the Church of the Covenant earlier in the tour. But this time you'll be able to see the original Newberry Comics coming up on our left-hand side, founded by MIT students back in the 1970s as a comic and a record shop. It is a very popular institution from New York City all the way up to Maine. Definitely worth checking out if you're a nerd like myself and want to grab yourself some souvenirs. If you're looking for something a little bit more historical, coming up on the right-hand side, on the very end of Newberry Street, is where you're going to find the oldest and quote-unquote most beloved baseball stadium in the United States, Fenway Park. Fenway Park was first opened the exact same week that the Titanic sank. You want to go take a tour of it? The tickets are $25 per person. You'll be able to take a 1-hour tour and then spend as much time as you want inside the Fenway Park Museum. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. So in particular, as we cross this street here, you'll see Fenway Park on our right. In particular, the green monster wall.
Going on delivery to Fisk. He's swings long drive to field. If it stays there, it's gone. Home run. The Red Sox win.
Now, out of curiosity, does anybody know what song the Red Sox always play during the 7th inning stretch? That's correct. Take me out to the ball game with a trick question. They play Sweet Caroline during the bottom of the 8th. Because the bottom of the 8th is when their DJ found out that his sister just had her baby named Caroline. And he thought it would be fun to play Sweet Caroline. And they have been playing Sweet Caroline pretty much every single game since the mid-70s. Of course, it's worth noting that song was written about Caroline Kennedy. Don't think too hard about it, but she was 11 years old when that song was written. We're gonna ignore the implications of that. Now over on our right-hand side, the white building that we're currently passing by is the brand new North American headquarters of the LEGO Corporation. LEGO just opened here back in December. They also have a Legoland Discovery Center, about a 15-minute walk from Old Town Trolley, Boston, stop number 3. It's technically in Somerville, Massachusetts, as you can see from the sign directly in front of us here on this moving truck. Somerville is just up the road from stop number 3, and the Legoland Discovery Center is in the aptly named neighborhood Assembly. Which, how perfect is that? Way down in front of the trolley, you guys can see Boston Symphony Hall. Boston Symphony Hall was designed by a Harvard physicist as a box within a box, meaning it's acoustically perfect, doesn't have a single bad seat in that house, and it's where the Boston Pops always do their performances. Their most notable performance, however, is done on the Charles River Esplanade every 4th of July with the 1812 Overture. Noting that inside that very building is where John Williams records almost all of his movie soundtracks. Most notably, he worked with the Boston Pops to record the soundtracks for Jaws, E.T., Superman, Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, and the original Star Wars. Most of the people working with the Boston Pops went to school over on our left-hand side, the Berklee College of Music. Berklee College of Music, last I checked, is responsible for over 315 Grammy Awards. Some of their alumni, dropouts, current students, and teachers include, but are not limited to, members of Aerosmith, Imagine Dragons, Dreams, Journey, Maroon 5, Korn, They Might Be Giants, the Dixie Chicks, the Pixies, the Cars, Steely Dan, Simon and Garfunkel, Meghan Trainor, Melissa Etheridge, Alex Newell of the TV series Glee, Trey Parker of the TV series South Park, Korean pop star Psy, if you guys remember Gangnam Style when that was popular, Coretta Scott King, Martin Luther King Jr.'s wife, and most notably John Mayer, who loved the school so much, he now works there as a substitute teacher, which really explains his dating history. I know that joke is low-hanging fruit, but like, come on. Honestly, I think he's worse than Leo DiCaprio. Over on our left-hand side is Boston's busiest fire station. The sharing space with Boston Architectural College, fire ladder 15, engine 33, responds to almost 4,000 calls every single year. They were the first on site for the Boston Marathon bombing back in 2013. On our left is the John B. Hines Veterans Memorial Convention Center, second largest convention center in all of New England, right behind the MCEC over on our Seaport Hotel shuttle. The MCEC, also known as the BCEC, it's worth noting that to get there you take our Blue Line trolley. But keep in mind that the Seaport Hotel Shuttle is merely that, a hotel shuttle with no narration. So keep that in mind at stops 1 and 9. We're now arriving at stop number 10. If you guys want to go check out the View Boston Observatory, talk to one of our Old Town Trolley sales reps to get a $12 discount off the price of admission. Boy, welcome. Watch your step, please. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we'll call that 35 open seats. Yeah, Marriott coming in with about 35 open seats.
I have a question.
Yes.
For the view at the Marriott, is that stop 12?
Yes, so I would say go to the Marriott, talk to our sales rep at the Marriott, and then you'll get a $12 discount to buy the ticket.
But it's at the view, right?
Yes, so all three of these stops here, 10, 11, and 12, are all around the Prudential Center. But you'll only get the discount if you buy the ticket directly from us. So otherwise, I'll show you where the main entrance is to the Prudential Center. You can sneak through the Sheraton Hotel on our left-hand side, but the main doors are coming up on our left, and then there is a sky bridge over the road to get you there from stop 12. So you've got 3 separate options. That being said, the Prudential Center on our left is the second tallest skyscraper in New England at 52 stories. The View Boston Observatory is open until 8 p.m. Definitely worth checking out, though I would recommend you go after Old Town Trolley is done for the day. That way you can enjoy the full experience. The Christian Science Plaza over on our right-hand side was created by Boston's own Mary Baker Eddy, one of only 3 women known in human history to have ever established her own religious movement. Inside the Mother Church is the largest organ in all of New England, 13,600 pipes attached to it. You'll find the Mary Baker Eddy Library for the betterment of humanity, the How Do You See the World Museum, and the world's largest globe, also known as the Maparium, 30 feet of stained glass, a picture of which can be found inside of your Old Town Trolley maps. If you were to take the right down Huntington Avenue, you would find yourselves at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. The Gardner Museum is where the largest art heist in the world took place on March 18, 1990. $80 million worth of paintings were stolen. The closest we have ever come to the recovery of those paintings was on a recent episode of The Simpsons, with Mr. Burns being caught having purchased on the black market Jesus on the Storm of the Sea of Galilee. Right behind us is also where you're going to find the Museum of Fine Arts, the largest collection in America, Monet paintings, Japanese swords, and ancient Egyptian artifacts. And it's also where you can find America's first ever YMCA, opened in 1851. YMCAs here in the greater Boston area are the birthplace of bodybuilding, gymnastics, paintball, volleyball, basketball, and American football. The YMCA in particular behind us is responsible both for the creation of bodybuilding and for the creation of Northeastern University, which originally began as night courses in the YMCA's basement. That's what the A in YMCA stands for, Young Men's Christian Academy. We're not going too far to get to stop number 12, just on the opposite side of this human-sized hamster trail here. also known as a sky bridge or a sky walk. You would go up onto the second floor of the building, talk to our sales reps to get the discounted ticket into the View Boston Observatory, and that's what will take you directly into the Prudential Center here on our left. It's also where you're going to find, they have all the same stores that you would find on Newberry Street in one convenient location, so you don't have to worry about walking around on the streets and in the cold and rain. So they've got the likes of Gucci, Cartier, Tiffany's, Rolex, and Louis Vuitton, among others. Simply stepping into the Copley Mall will dramatically affect your credit score. Seriously, the cheapest store that you're going to find in there is Victoria's Secret, which, considering you can get a blanket there for $120 and it'll still be itchy, it's not saying much in terms of affordability. Right up on our left-hand side, you guys can now see the duck boat tours coming into view. These are repurposed vehicles from World War II. That's what stormed the beaches of Normandy on D-Day, which you'll see considering there's a movie dedicated to D-Day coming up, as well as a 10-part documentary narrated by Tom Hanks coming up as well. The duck boats take you on a singular loop of the city of Boston. There is no hopping on, hopping off, because they do the majority of their tour from the Charles River and Boston Harbor. I can do that too if you really want me to, but I can only do that once. And if you want to find out why that's a bad idea, Google Ted Kennedy super quickly, and you'll find out why that's a horrible idea. I make that joke specifically because Ted Kennedy was a horrible person for what he did, and that needs to be brought to light over and over and over again, so it can never be lived down, whether he's alive or dead. We have now arrived at stop number 12. This is your closest stop to get to the finish line of the Boston Marathon, whose finish line is just on the opposite side of the Copley Square Hotel. Oldest marked marathon in the world. Yep, so just head on inside, go up to the second floor, chat with one of our sales reps if you guys haven't bought your tickets already, and then just go right across the sky bridge. Yes. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. So, Boston Marathon, it just celebrated its 130th anniversary just this past April. It's worth noting their mascot is the unicorn, which I think is perfect for them, because just like my ability to finish the Boston Marathon, the unicorn is also imaginary. The real reason why they use the unicorn is, of course, the unicorn is one of the main symbols of the city of Boston, dating back to the 1600s and 1700s. Now, over at stop number 5, you might have noticed that there is a lion and a unicorn on top of the old state house. The lion represents England and the unicorn represents Scotland. Because the unicorn is said to be the only animal in Scottish mythology capable of defeating a lion in single combat. Historically, this has not worked very well for Scotland, but it has worked out quite well for the United States. So, that is why the unicorn is one of the symbols of the city of Boston. The marathon sees approximately 60,000 participants and 500,000 spectators every single year. It is so crowded and busy, the Old Town Trolley is not able to run on Marathon Monday, also known as Patriot Day. Don't let this truck go by, it's super loud. Now at the front of the trolley, you're going to be able to see John Hancock Tower coming into view once again, the tallest skyscraper in New England, standing at 62 stories, so 10 stories taller than the Prudential Center. It was built by Chinese architect I.M. Pei back in the 1960s. 1970s. I.M. Pei passed away in 2019 at the tragically young age of 102. Right in front of us, right in front of the Hancock Tower, is the Fairmont Copley Plaza Hotel. It'll be on our right-hand side as we make this turn here. Some of you guys might actually recognize the Tipton Hotel from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. This is where they filmed all the outside shots for the show. They also have the largest collection of Picasso paintings in the United States here, available to go see for free on the first and second floors. They used to host fantasy writing seminars here every single weekend, so this is where H.P. Lovecraft not only started his writing career, but he also met his future wife here as well, Sonia Green, as she was attending those same seminars. The hotel was originally supposed to open in April of 1912, but they got delayed quite some time due to the fact that all the furniture that they had ordered from England happened to be delivered on the Titanic. So, Boston was supposed to be the Titanic's second of 3 stops. So they were supposed to go to New York, to Boston, to Nova Scotia, Canada, and then right back over to England. But we all know how that went. Funnily enough, I'd like to say this because it's totally tone deaf. I had a guest a couple of weeks ago. I said that they had to delay their grand opening because they lost all their furniture on the Titanic. And a guest said, man, that's super inconvenient. And it's just, how many people died? Almost 2,000 and you're worried about their furniture? Good grief. Now over on our left-hand side, you guys can now see Boston Public Library, also known as the BPL. The Boston Public Library is the 3rd largest and 2nd oldest free lending library in the United States. It has 28 million books on display to the John Adams and John Quincy Adams residential libraries, 2 of 4 residential libraries that we have here in Boston. Because half of George Washington's residential library can be found at the Athenaeum at Stop 8, while JFK's presidential library can be found in my alma mater of UMass Boston over by Dorchester, the Dorchester neighborhood of Boston. They've got a bar, a math room, a tea room, a wedding venue, and the last murals ever painted by John Singer Sargent inside of the Boston Public Library. In terms of size, it ranks just behind the Library of Congress, the New York City Public Library, and in terms of age, it is second only to the Franklin, Massachusetts Public Library, which is about 3 miles from where we are right now. Coming up on our right-hand side is Trinity Church, our stop 13. Trinity Church was built by Boston's own Henry Hobson Richardson, the only American architect to have his own style of architecture named after himself, Richardsonian Romanesque. If you go on inside, your Old Town Trolley ticket will get you a 30% off discount, the price of admission. And if you find it just so beautiful that you simply have to get married here, well, good luck. Last I checked, the wait time to get married here is 5 years. That is how popular this place is. So I'm passing by our actual stop 13 just because all these buses are over here, but this is stop 13. Dropping me off right next to the statue of Reverend Phillips Brooks, who wrote O Little Town of Bethlehem, and the tortoise and the hare statues to represent the Boston Marathon, since the tortoise and the hare is, of course, the most famous race ever run. Stop 13. Hey dispatch, I'm at stop 13 right now with about 10 people on board. I just wanted to let you know that there are buses all the way up and down Boylston Street here right in front of Trinity Church. So it was a little difficult to actually get to stop 13. Watch your step, please. Center coming in with about 10 people on board. And now you guys can see why the bus behind us, their initials are Boston Sightseeing, or BS. It should come as no surprise that most of the people working for them are people that Old Town Trolley have fired. I wish I was kidding. Ugh, good grief. It's like I was parked. I don't know what else I was supposed to do. So I pointed out when they filmed all the outdoor shots for the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody a couple of minutes ago, but coming up on our right-hand side, you'll see where another famous TV show had all their scenes filmed. Over on our right-hand side is where they filmed the outdoor shots for Boston Legal, starring William Shatner. And then from there, you'll be able to see that we're back right in the area that I picked all of you up from, because some of these buildings are about to get real familiar real quick. Over on our left-hand side is where you're going to find, once again, the only remaining building from the original campus of MIT, the MIT Museum of Natural History. And then right behind that is the Church of the Covenant, as featured in the movie Boondock Saints. So you'll be able to see both of those over on our left-hand side. Usually the trolleys are coming around the corner from the right. Coming up on the left is another very famous church. What you're about to see is the Arlington Street Church, as featured in the movie, the Arlington Street Church, which was the first church in the United States to host a legal gay marriage. It was back in 2004. They also have the last ever stained glass windows ever made by Louis Tiffany, the son of the founder and second CEO of Tiffany's Glass and Jewelry Company, and the creator of the style Favreal Glass. He made all these glass windows just 2 doors up to our left-hand side at the very end of Newberry Street. If you guys check Newberry Street out later, or you're taking the city tour loop from stop 6 to stop 7, you'll be able to see this Tiffany's a little bit clearer. It is the 3rd oldest location of Tiffany's Glass and Jewelry Company, with the robin's egg blue awnings. It was founded in 1837, which is the same year that the Boston Public Garden in front of us was established. 1837, part of the Emerald Necklace. So, Tiffany's, you can buy emerald necklaces since 1837, and the Public Garden's part of the Emerald Necklace since 1837. A very nice little coincidence. So I'll drive by slowly, but on our left is the robin's egg blue awnings of Tiffany's. Over on our left-hand side, you guys can now see the swan boats coming into view. Those were founded 40 years after the Public Gardens in 1877. The swan boats are based off of the popular German opera Lohengrin, which sees a knight going to rescue a princess from across a swampy lagoon in a rowboat pushed around by a giant magic swan. Over on our right-hand side, you'll be able to see the Old Town Trolley Welcome Center, with a trolley, of course, waiting for us right now. So hopefully they'll stick around long enough just for us to get across the street here. So this trolley will be able to get you guys onto it right away, and then that will be your city tour trolley to stops 8, 9, and 1. Do not stay on board with me. I will have additional tasks that I will be doing. That does not include doing the Back Bay tour. So you'll want to head over to that trolley. The next Back Bay tour will be right across the street at 2:45 in 20 minutes. So you'll have plenty of time to get over to it. In the meantime, this stop that we're at right now is for Edgar Allan Poe Square, Old Town Trolley Welcome Center, Emerson College, America's oldest Masonic lodge, founded in 1733, and Central Burying Ground, founded in 1756, where Gilbert Charles Stewart is buried. Gilbert Stewart is the guy who painted George Washington as he appears on the $1 bill. So just one moment, and it looks like Brian is walking over to where I'm going to be dropping you guys off, just to direct you guys over to where you need to go. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to chat with Brian just over here on our right-hand side. And if you guys enjoyed the tour, feel free to grab a guest comment card from me.